Today we are diving into a show that was arguably too smart for network television, which is partly why it got canceled, revived, and then, well, we don't talk about the later seasons for a reason. I'm talking about Arrested Development. Whether you've watched it 10 times or you're just here because you heard there's always money in the banana stand, here are 10 weird and brilliant facts you probably didn't know about the Bluth family. 10. The no-fly zone. Kickstarting our list at number 10. Buster's missing hand wasn't just a random piece of tragic comedy, it was aggressively foreshadowed from the very first season. In an early episode, Buster plays an arcade game called The Claw and winces, saying, "I'm a monster." Later, when Michael threatens to alter a contract, Buster snaps, "I will hook you." But here's the absolute chef's kiss of dark humor. Right before the seal attacks him in Season 2, a news promo flashes on a TV screen behind the characters warning about a seal attack. The anchor says, "A seal has tasted human flesh." The writers didn't just drop hints, they left a giant breadcrumb trail of severed limbs. 9. Tobias was only supposed to be a guest. Can you imagine Arrested Development without Tobias? Well, David Cross was originally only contracted to appear in the pilot and maybe a couple of episodes as a guest star. The executives didn't think a character that bizarre would work long-term. But Cross's line delivery was so deeply unhinged and brilliant that the writers basically said, "Yeah, we're keeping him." Thank goodness they did, because network TV desperately needed a middle-aged man permanently trapped in denim cutoffs. 8. The real life, never nudes. Speaking of those denim cutoffs, let's talk about the never nude syndrome. Tobias claims to suffer from a rare psychological condition that prevents him from being completely naked. The inspiration actually came from real life. Series creator Mitch Hurwitz revealed that the joke was inspired by a real-life acquaintance who genuinely refused to take off his swimwear, even while showering. So, somewhere out there, a real person inspired decades of jokes about denim-induced chafing. 7. The chicken dances were total improvisation. One of the greatest running gags in television history is the Bluth family's complete and utter inability to imitate a chicken. Here's the thing, the script usually just said, "He does a chicken dance." The actual movements and bizarre sounds were completely improvised by the actors. Will Arnett started it with his aggressive, foot-stomping dance. Then, one by one, the other cast members had to invent their own equally terrible versions to match his energy. 6. Charlize Theron's MRF backstory. Remember Rita Leeds? She was Michael's love interest in Season 3, played by Oscar winner Charlize Theron. The show drops massive hints that she is an MRF. What makes this weird is how Charlize Theron got the part. She was actually a massive fan of the show and begged to be on it. Mitch Hurwitz pitched her the most offensive, bizarre storyline he could think of, assuming a big movie star would politely decline. Instead, she loved it. So she flew in, wore a ridiculous wig, ate plastic fruit, and gave us one of the funniest arcs in the show's run. 5. The Save Our Show meta jokes. Arrested Development was constantly on the chopping block at Fox due to low ratings. Instead of panicking quietly, the writers decided to weaponize their impending cancellation into aggressive meta humor. In the Season 3 episode Save Our Bluths, the family tries to throw a fundraiser. Throughout the episode, characters explicitly say things like, "The home builders organization might pick us up," or "Showtime isn't interested." They were actually begging other networks for a job while airing on Fox. It was incredibly risky, deeply petty, and absolutely hilarious. Number 4 takes us back to the late 70s. Henry Winkler, who plays the Bluth's stunningly incompetent lawyer Barry Zuckerkorn, famously played the Fonz on Happy Days. In one episode of Happy Days, Fonzie jumps over a shark on water skis, coining the famous pop culture phrase, "jumping the shark," to describe a show losing its quality. In Season 2 of Arrested Development, Barry Zuckerkorn comes across a dead shark and casually hops over it. The writers made Henry Winkler jump a shark again, decades later, just to mock television tropes. 3. How storylines are told. Every single episode feels like an incredibly dense, fast-paced hour of television because of how much plot they cram in. But in reality, because Fox kept cutting their budget and airtime, most network episodes are barely 21 minutes long. The secret weapon was Ron Howard's narration. Instead of wasting time showing characters driving to a location or explaining their motives, Ron Howard just summarizes it in 4 seconds flat. The narration essentially acts as a hyper-efficient trash compactor for plot. 2. The Scott Baio swap. When Barry Zuckerkorn gets replaced as the family lawyer, they hire Bob Loblaw, played by Scott Baio. The real joke is a meta-Hollywood handoff. In real life, back in the 80s, Scott joined the cast of Happy Days to replace the star power of none other than Henry Winkler, who was leaving the spotlight. Decades later, Arrested Development brought Baio in to replace Winkler's character yet again. The casting director deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award just for that specific setup. 1. The Real-Life Bluth Family Foundation. The Bluth family was heavily based on the real-life Enron scandal. The corporate fraud, the shredding of documents, the clueless family members acting like nothing was wrong while the company collapsed around them, it was all pulled straight from the headlines. Mitch Hurwitz took one of the biggest corporate crimes in American history and thought, yeah, this would make a great comedy about a guy who lives in a fake house. And honestly, he was completely right. There you have it, 10 reasons why Arrested Development remains a masterclass in comedy. What other facts did we miss? Drop a comment below, hit that subscribe button, and remember, there is always money in the banana stand. See you next time.